Hi, I'm Chris Van Beveren and welcome to my garden. I'd like to show you around. It's sort of a unique garden because none of these plants were planted. They came up naturally. I don't water anything. The plants are native plants that find their own water, and watering artificially actually is not good for them. The only thing I have done is dig up invasive weeds, making room for the natives to come up. The first area here is a pretty ugly plant called saltgrass that I let it stay because it is a native. The second one, right over here, can you zoom here? These are yarrow plants. I have 3 patches of yarrow in there. That's a purple hyacinth that comes from a bulb originally. I didn't plant that. There are some others that we'll see as we walk around. So now I'm going to go over this way.
And you can hear the birds in the background. You can hear the quail.
Okay, another plant that comes up naturally is sweet alyssum. That one needs rain, and when we get rain, we get sweet alyssum. When it starts to dry back in summer, that is gone, but it comes right back. There's also a plant right here, the tall one. This is a really aggressive plant called fennel, and they're everywhere starting. That's one. That's one over there too. So I don't want the garden to be totally fennel, so I do dig them up, and I've left about 6 of the fennel plants. The birds and the bees both, and the butterflies too, both, they all like that one. There's a plant here. This is called mallow. It has salmon-colored flowers. Last year our rains were different. Where I'm standing was a whole field of mallow this tall, probably 150 plants. There's a few that are coming from our rains that we had in early March. As I say, each year is different. The same with wild radishes. This was a tall forest of wild radishes. There's an example. Are you too far away?
Okay.
This was our original stand of yarrow. These little ferny plants, when they're in bloom, they have stalks about this tall with white flowers, and they extend way over there. You can maybe pan to show all of them. Could you? All of those. This is a huge, it started when I found 4 plants in amongst all the weeds I was digging up, and I was thrilled to see it expand this much. Here's a couple more examples of the purple hyacinth. Not planted, just came up. They're pretty, they last for a couple of 3 months every year, and there's more every year in different places I don't expect. And this is the primary plant of this garden. It's called silver dune lupin. Legend is that a neighbor planted a small example of this, and it has grown to, it's maybe 60 or 70 feet long and 40 feet across. It has a life expectancy of only 10 years, so it changes every year. More plants come up, others die back, but it has pale blue flowers when it's in bloom. Last year we had a lovely stand of a darker purple. There's still some of them left, but most of them not. and it was quite a spectacle with the darker purple and the silver blue lupin behind it. There's another plant that is prevalent of many species, many samples of this. This is coyote brush, have come up, spreads by seeds, wind, birds, who knows. But this was a very tiny plant last year, and now it's quite big. Examples of a plant called deerweed. Has red and yellow tiny flowers. It's a wonderful native plant. Decided to grow there. I'm going to come forward to show you a lot of these. These are called mock heathers. There were 6 of them on this lot. All of them about this size. There's now probably 200 of them have come up just from making room. Right over here, this is an interesting plant. It sends a stalk straight up out of the sand. The common name for this is manroot because it's got a huge root under it. It's another mock heather. And the more proper name for this is wild cucumber. So I'm going to walk around. This is a different plant than the lupin. This is a plant that I discovered one day when it was about that tall, and the lupin that's all around it now was about 6 feet back, so it was all by itself. The lupin advanced, and now it's desperately coming up through the middle of the lupin. This is California sagebrush, and right over here in front of us are 5 or 6 examples of a sticky monkey flower. It just finished blooming. The flowers are bright golden yellow. This plant is pretty susceptible to high wind, and we had a big windstorm one year and it knocked everything down, but it's not dead, it has recovered. So the stickies are around like that. There's another couple of mock heathers. See where I'm pointing? Right there. And out there, many.
Okay.
Okay, there is a lot of very low green plants out here. These are some of them are only that big, and some of them are that big. They're called sand mat. At this time of year, from a distance, it almost looks like we have a lawn out here. But when the rains have been a long time back, they all turn brown. They get nasty thorns on them, but they are a native and they hold the soil. So I like the way they look at this time of year. There's also another plant that needs a little water. It doesn't die. It's right here. It's called croton. When it doesn't have enough water, it kind of goes white and almost looks like it's dead. But it lives on. Give it some water, it lives on. One surprise was this tree. You don't know, a bird dropped a seed or what, but it's called an acacia tree, and depending on water, looks better or worse. One thing it did was it sent some seeds over the fence, and there's a bigger one just on the other side of that fence, more than twice the size, because there's some irrigation on that side. This is also a place where you can see some of the larger examples of the mock heather. This one. I'm going to head out this way now. standing here for two reasons. One is to show you this path that I created by digging a lot of weeds up. Before I did that, this area just there was what the entire field looked like before. This is a foreign grass. We think it's maybe from Africa or someplace. It grows this high with a lot of these, hundreds of these, thousands of these seeds. But the soil here is sandy, and it's not that hard to dig most of them unless they're very stubborn. So this is what I started with that looked just like this. This is the third of the yarrow patches. This was discovered about 4 years ago, a few little plants amongst the very tall weeds. I have dug up all the weeds immediately around them so that they can have room to multiply. Once again, they will be tall, white flowers. There's a couple of other things right here. We'll need to come closer and look down and see. This is the purple nightshade. This is the beautiful plants that a huge stand of them are on the other side of the lupin. This is one of the two largest of the purple nightshades that have bloomed this year. They're very pretty with purple flowers with little yellow centers, and they decided to bloom on this side this year instead of where they were in the past. I have one other surprise, which is the grand finale of the tour. It's right. Oh, one thing I wanted to show you is this aggressive lupin is pouring out, and who knows how many of these lupin plants are going to end up on this side. Well, here is our grand finale. It's not very big if you were expecting something big. It is this little plant right here. It's a coastal live oak. The elfin forest nearby has hundreds if not thousands of them that grow 10 feet or so tall. This one has decided it wants to grow here, and it's very slow growing. I found it 3 years ago, and it hasn't grown a lot since then. A little, but not a lot. So that made my day, the day that I discovered that growing here. So I hope you enjoyed the tour of the native garden. Thank you.